to have a great conversation. What I do like is to have interactions in there so that I get to tease out your thoughts on a subject that we want to talk about. Already, let me say good morning to Prince Kwaku Bosman. Sherry Giovanni, you're celebrating your birthday today. Sherry Giovanni, happy birthday to you. Solly Evans, Enyona Mensah, a couple of you. Imelda Nassar, I can already see you. Patrick Kubesika, Prince Ahmed, good morning. Mahamudu Yakubu, and then a couple of you. Please share the stream. Let us have Maxwell Akpabli has also joined. Prince Johnson Kuma, please. And then Kinsley Inshrabo Fori. Share the stream. Make sure you share the stream, please. Zachariah is also there. Shaddai Adote. Today, we're going to have the finance minister go to Parliament to tell us that the economy is doing well, and we are supposed to have a review of the budget. Not necessarily, it's just almost like a brief, so to speak, because we're not going to have a supplementary one. But we are the IMF, we got the last tranche. We just also had a discussion about the possible reintroduction of the VAT on electricity. Is the economy in good shape after doing the debt exchange, etc.? Let me just do it. We have a great man who has joined us, Dr. Kwejo Nyantechi. He's a lecturer with the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration. And I tell you that when it comes to the Management Productivity Institute, etc., they have a great link with the formative period of GIMPA. So Alan Kojo Chairman also has his hand in there as well within his establishment and all that. Good morning to you, Dr. Nyantechi.
Good morning.
Are you related to Kwesi Nyantechi formally?
Not yet.
Not that you know of. Okay. And then also a regular who is always right here these days, the butterfly man, and Nana Yao Sapon is here. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Can you give me a yard or two of the shirts? I don't know whether if I saw it or say that.
I would give you
I love
three.
It.
I would give you three. And I would give you one, okay. And then you would also give to anybody you love.
Bella, I'll give it to Bella.
If you have Ghana at heart,
you need to wear it.
You need to wear it to seek transformation and to seek change.
All right. I have Basintali. Malik Basintali is here. Malik, good morning to you.
Good morning, Roy.
I saw you wearing caps and interacting with people. Where did you visit over the last day or two or three?
I've been moving up and down.
Okay.
I went to the UCC. I had to arrive in Accra around 1 a.m. right morning. I had to proceed to Tamale again for a workshop. I had to quickly come back to Accra, and then I've been engaged in some other activities. We are 5 months away. I have consistently said that we won't be complacent. We won't feel that just because the MPP government have led us into a ditch does not automatically mean that the Ghanaian people will give us the nod. We need to demonstrate beyond reasonable doubt that we are capable of managing the helms of affairs, and we are capable of giving the Ghanaian youth out there superior, reasons why they should settle for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who is already tried and tested, who is the nation builder, and has great policies, innovations to reset the economy and take us to the promised land. And we have to also demonstrate to the women out there, the people who are interested in very good policies like the National Women's Bank and so many other things, why Professor Nana Jane is fit to be the first, female Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. And so, yes, we have been working across the country. We won't leave any stone unturned. Okay. But the Ghanaian people will not forgive us if we don't take them out of this mess, if we don't take them out of this tragedy, if we don't take them out of this, mourning situation where you wake up in the morning and you don't even know what to eat, or where your next meal will come from. And so
one of the things we'll also be discussing is what's happening in both camps as well as the other camps as well. So Alan's camp, JM's camp, and then Baumia's camp. Already you know that what is trending is the mobile phones that will be provided for Ghanaians as well through the telecom companies. And of course, some of them tried it in the past. We'll see how that goes. It's a trending issue. We'll take a look at that. And also, you will know by now that John Dramani Mahama had a visit from the owner of the defunct GM Bank. And Dr. Pakwesi Ndum also had been there. So, and then Alan Chomanting also had been having a lot of interactions with various groupings, organized labor, the business community, etc. So we'll take a look at it. But the budget. Let's first take an insight from the finance minister on the budget and our expectation. Now I'll come to Dr. Nyantichi. What his expectation should be.
With macroeconomy, economic stability returning and having concluded our debt restructuring, we think that there is need to accelerate growth. We have to be deliberate. We have to be intentional about growth. We will need about 12 billion United States dollars to bring our growth back to the pre-COVID growth of an average of 7%.
Dr. Nyantichi, you are the one who teaches this. I mean, the finance minister, the head of government economic management in the vice president, presidential candidate of the ruling party says everything is fine. Are we fine? Is that what you tell your students? Are we fine?
Not really. Not really. I think there's much expectation out of what is going on. Much expectation. Every Ghanaian expects certain different things. In fact, for the media, I think the expectation is so high, we need to bring down the pressure on people. So I think they'll be looking at the economic performance. How are the indicators? What are they going to do? What are the assessments on these kind of things so that people will have the hope in the system? At the same time, the revenue and expenditure. People have been crying. Why? A lot of money is being spent, but they don't see anything. So I think there's an expectation there about the revenue aspects of it. And then we have to also check the debts. Is it going up, coming down, or we are going to sustain the debts, the deficits? Are we going to sustain it? So that must also be looked at. And then the policies, because all these, the policies guide them. Yeah. So what are the policies that we are going to implement, or new policies that are going to be enhanced in order to create new avenues for the people, or to relieve people of the hardships in court? And then we will also have to look at the specific updates on these old policies and the new ones, if there would be. So every individual expects some impact. If whatever is going to transpire today will help, then everybody will be expecting an impact. And impact can either be positive or
negative.
Or negative.
Okay. If you take a look at the rationalization of the expenditure, especially within a period when we say that we had to go restructure our debt after we've done the domestic debt exchange with our external creditors. Ideally, shouldn't we have been going a cup in hand, knowing that we had told, or were going to tell our external creditors that we had drastically reduced our expenditure? Take Kenya, for example. Cabinet has been dissolved. They had to reduce expenditure on government business exponentially, just to give a sign to their citizens that we are on the right path and we want to show leadership. In what ways could we have done that also?
As I said, the expenditure and the revenue issues are very, very important, because even if you cap it and we are not able to live within our means, we will still have the problems coming up. Yeah, we will still have the problems coming up on a daily basis. So it's up to the government to tell the good people of Ghana that, okay, we are going to do this, that, we are going to do all these policies in order to relieve you off. Yeah, some taxes can be taken off in order to relieve the people. So depending on that, we may have the impacts, as I said earlier on, in impacting on the people of Ghana.
If you take a look at some of the policies or the taxes, which of them would you best advise, based on your own assessment?
As we were told initially about nuisance taxes, because a lot of taxes are on petroleum, a lot of taxes are on the health side. Even the health side doesn't need any tax. It should be free, actually, but we are not getting that. And then the taxes that are supposed, the COVID taxes, for example, we are no longer using it. So why is it there? Is it being used to enhance NHIS, or what is it being used for? Some of the taxes, if you check the records, you realize that we have a whole lot of money coming in, but they are not being used for the actual tax. So you realize it goes to zero in quotes. So we need some of the taxes, those nuisance taxes that are still lingering on our neck, to be taken away in order to help us to relieve the people of Ghana.
I see. Nani Alsapong. The refrain is that the economy is in a good shape. The finance minister says that we've received after the external debt restructuring, we are in a positive state. From your own assessment, what would you say?
Roland, good morning to you. Good morning to
Morning.
Senior, and then my colleague, and then good morning to your cherished viewers. Roland, it's interesting when I hear the finance people, in this case, the finance minister who happens to be a brother, Adam Santa, say that the economy is in good shape. And I remember the last time I said that it's easy when you are speaking English to explain economy. But the reality is what is out there. Now, as we speak, Roland, we do not need the finance minister to organize a press conference to tell us whether or not our economy is back alive or the economy is in shambles. My senior colleague here has been in this game for a very long time, and he would explain to you that there is a thin line between the books and reality. And if you are not careful, the books will deceive you. Because these books that they work with, most of them are manufactured. The figures themselves are manufactured. Roland, would an economy be good if your inflation is in double digits at 22%? Would an economy be good if a dollar to a cedi is almost 16 Ghana cedis? Is it that we are buried in the reports that are being given to us by the men and women who put on suit and tie? Or we just refuse to face the realities of it? I am thinking that the finance minister today should actually go to Parliament and try to explain to Ghanaians, and also to give out practical policies that are timely and realistic to lifting up the confidence in our economy. Roland, there is absolutely no confidence whatsoever in the Ghanaian economy. Businesses are leaving the country. There is loss of confidence in our economy. And one thing I have always said that is attributing to this, and that can turn things around for us, is leadership. Anybody who does finance or in economics understand the fact that when investors lose confidence in you as a leader, investors lose confidence in leadership, immediately everything would drop. And so if Ghana would want to rise again, then it means that there is a need for us to change leadership. Now, if we are moving out of that, then we'll be talking about the issues of corruption. Because when anybody is going to invest, or anybody is bringing money into the system, the person would look at whether or not the country or the government has the political will and has the moral grounds to deal with the issues of corruption. Anta is talking about us needing $12 billion. Okay.
12
Now,
billion.
We have a situation where Atoforsen and others are owing us 2 point what? How much is the ambulance case? 2 point something million. Then we wake up in the morning. Then Konoforiata also has signed just days before he left office in excess of 30 something million dollars for the purchase of spare parts for 307 ambulances. Now, when you do the computation, but yes, say ambulance back home, one ambulance is in excess of $100,000. Well, let's do this together. You are on your phone, but calculator and I'm idea.
Then call calculator no.
$100,000.
100.
They say dollars, you know, they are to 4 bro 15 Ghana cedis.
We shouldn't do 50.6.
Debbie, we 15 Ghana cedis, say to 4 bro.
That's basic, yeah.
What calculator need to mean for?
1.5 million.
Let us be real. If you, Ghana was your company, would you go and buy a spare parts for one ambulance at this cost? They would come and speak English to us and tell us that when you are buying the spare parts, you ought to be able to buy the entire. We take our cars for servicing, don't we? When you have taken your cars for servicing and you don't need a new tie, do you pay for a new tie? This is pure stealing. So if those in authority are buried in corruption that has a direct effect and impact on the finances of the country, we are doomed. How much taxes do we collect? How much taxes do we collect that an individual will sign to buy spare parts at this price? Roland, we have an opportunity. Ghana has the brightest opportunity as compared to any other African country in terms of raw materials, in terms of destination, in terms of geographical location, everything. We have the brains. Let me get out here.
Dr. Nyantichi.
He's been teaching this for years. He's trained people who are very good bankers and economists in this country. What else do we lack? So it is just the aspect of leadership and the refusal of government to indeed manage our resources well. Today, what we are looking out to hear is how the finance minister will tell us that as industrial players, as manufacturers, as ordinary citizens, government is taking a standpoint to take away nuisance taxes, to bring about practical policies that will deal with the forex. Because until we are able to deal with the forex, the issues of the forex, we would always be here. You have the figures, but the Abochi out there is the one that has the dollar. What are you putting in place to be able to bring him to the table, to let him understand that his activities has a direct effect on your economy?
And Malik, critically, what the criticism has been is that we have the vice president who is the head of government economic management team, and ideally all policies of the economy, its direction, should have been in a stable position, should have been under control. Do you think that criticism is always fair?
First of all, we sometimes massage issues when we are on TV. And I must be honest. I listened to Doc. Very brilliant submission. But you see, he kept saying we have a revenue and an expenditure issue, revenue and expenditure. That's highly diplomatic. Doc, you ought to hit the nail right where it should be. We have an issue of recklessness, reckless spending, reckless expenditure. People in government spending anyhow. Just say it as it is. I listened to my very brother,
Nane Alsapo.
He said, yes, you see, we need to put pragmatic steps in place and all that. As simple as that. Tell them they lack foresight. They are entirely clueless as to where the country should be. This is how we should say it. Look, I don't understand how Dr. Bawumia could not manage 1, 3 oil fields President Mahama left for him. 2, a sinking fund with $650 million. 3, a stabilization fund with $250 million. Left him ESLA. So many other revenue mobilization, corridors and containers. 2, I don't understand how Dr. Bawumia came into office, brought on board over 28 new taxes. In 2022 alone, the revenue inflow was over 42 million. 2021, they exceeded their revenue estimation. They clocked over 48 million. COVID brought in over 21 billion, not million, billion, COVID-19. The Bank of Ghana alone printed over 78 billion, not million, billion to the government. And yet, Dr. Bawumia failed totally to manage the economy of this country. And they come and tell you and I that they need 12 billion.
Well, the first time, the signs were good.
Which signs were good? And
if you look at the indicators 2017, 2018.
The only time we had a good growth was in 2017. That was around 7.1. And that was as a result of the good works of President Mahama. Check the growth of 2018. We had dropped to about 3.4. Till now, we are doing 1.5% growth rate. It dropped. In 2019, the dollar was already changing at 11 Ghana cedis. In 2019. At that time, the World Bank's country director already warned us that we were heading towards a ditch. Ghana was already downgraded by Moody's in 2019. And so the signs were clear. We knew where we were heading for, and we knew we were going to be in a ditch. Now, what saddens my heart is that the people who swore every oracle of this land that Ghana was not going to go to the IMF, even when President Mahama and Ato Forsen by then was warning them that the path on which this economy is on, if you don't take time, they'll finally take you to the IMF in an ambulance. They swore everything. If you remember John Kuma of blessed memory, he was panting and jumping and ranting in Parliament.
Panting and jumping.
That they were not going to go today, they won't go tomorrow, and they will never go to the IMF. Nana Addo was moving around, telling people that no, Ghana will not be in the IMF. Roland, the country didn't go to the IMF in an ambulance. We went to the IMF virtually in a wheelbarrow because Ghana had to amputate parts of its economic slices today as we speak.
Wheelbarrow?
Yes. Let me explain that to you. Today as we speak, before the IMF could give us a listening ear, they told the government, Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, to come and bestow pain and hardships on pensioners in this country. They told them that they should come and put pain on private and independent bondholders before they could give us something. They told Bawumia and Nana Addo to come back and let their citizens, you and I, pay high electricity tariffs in this country before they grant them the loan. And today, as a result of that recklessness and cluelessness by these people at the helm of affairs, you and I are paying high costs of electricity tariffs. You and I, they've compounded our taxes. Today, petroleum prices are rising. Bondholders haven't gotten their monies, and we are gradually going deep down and down on a daily basis. And so, if today the finance minister will be going to Parliament, I don't know what new he's going to tell us. In 2021, this government told us we are out of the woods. Didn't you hear that? Ken Ofo-Rattah said we are out of the woods. 2022, he said we have maneuvered the corner. I was wondering which corner we had maneuvered. That we have turned the corner around. Yet in that same year, our growth rate was 1.5%. Just last year, we imported tomatoes to a tune of 3.3 million in this country. Billion. We imported onion to a tune of 2.2 billion in this country. Yet they told us we are turned the corner. Go to the market today and ask of the price of 3 tomatoes. If you don't buy it at 10 Ghana cedis, then it will be 15 Ghana cedis. A gallon of petrol, when they told us we're out of the woods, was around 58 Ghana cedis. Today, a gallon is around 70 Ghana cedis in the market. When they told us we're out of the woods at the last budget, a dollar was changing at 12 Ghana cedis. Remember, 12.5. Today, 15.6.
But Malik, when you listen to the negotiation that government has had with the IMF, you get the refrain that is across, that because of COVID and Russia, Ukraine, and this has been helped by government being the cause of the difficulties we're facing. Shouldn't that be a good excuse?
I have explained to you times and number that COVID-19 was good news to Akufo-Addo and his apparatchiks. One, COVID brought in over 30 billion. I have said it. That was good news to Akufo-Addo. COVID gave MPP parliamentary candidates in every constituency, including Felicia Tete, over 100,000. That was how Akufo-Addo shared it. If not for COVID, like Akufo-Addo and his ministers will not go and build an isolation center at Adakulu with 15 million, renovate it with 21 million, and leave it to rot. In fact, as a result of COVID and the money they had, Opo Nkrumah was paying people who were not media personnel, yet they claimed they were frontline workers. Chop in COVID alone was 11 billion. That was gross.
He has come to deny that.
Don't worry, when we get there, we'll cross. As for denials, everybody will deny. Even Satan has denied his sins. But when we get there, we'll cross. As a result of COVID, this government had huge revenue in taxes. I told you that they crossed their revenue expectations. 41 billion was expected, million was expected. They crossed it to 48 million in this country. Bank of Ghana printed over 78 billion as a result of COVID-19. And so, if Akufo-Addo should hear COVID-19 today, he will pray that it should come to Ghana. Because when COVID comes, he has an opportunity of
he will pray that COVID should come?
He has an opportunity
that led to the death of many people?
Did he care? When COVID was leading to the deaths of people, they were busy siphoning 11 billion as a result of COVID-19 money. The Auditor General told you and I, during COVID-19, there was no bad luck to Akufo-Addo and his apparatchiks. Instead, they were siphoning monies, they were duping the state. It's not during COVID that Akufo-Addo's best friend, the health minister by then, went to balloon a drug that was supposed to be sold at $10 per vaccine. You remember? He ballooned it to $19. Misappropriated our funds and spent it recklessly. When he was asked in Parliament, he said he wasn't thinking right at the time. And so that excuse of COVID-19 is neither here nor there. I have said, and I will maintain, Roland, that our problem is simple in this country. The problem of this country is that Akufo-Addo and Bawumia are reckless. Their ministers, together with their cabinet, are clueless. They totally lack foresight in this country. And above everything, Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, and everybody at the helm of affairs is wicked to the plights of the Ghanaian people. And that wickedness will never let them do anything good for this country.
If the excuses that we keep getting, you read the latest report of the IMF and you find the phrases COVID, Russia, Ukraine. Of course, it's a pact. We have documents sent to the IMF. They both sit down. We all agree. We get the board approval, and subsequently the tranches subsequently are given to us. That excuse we keep giving, COVID, and then the impact of the Russian-Ukraine war. When you sit in the classroom, and after you've done your extensive academic and literature review, how sincerely do you buy that as an excuse from any finance minister in Ghana?
That is a realistic excuse, but does it hold in reality?
What is the reality?
The reality is, in fact, COVID was a blessing to almost all African countries because it halted. Every country became independent. So we should have pushed the restarting button in order to rule our lives.
How so?
And we refused to do so. Every country was independent. Nobody cares about you. Do what you can to survive. So if we had taken that opportunity, that advantage, that wouldn't have been a problem because the resources are within this. Is there. As we were told that these resources are there for us. We are sitting on the resource. But for Ukraine, that would be a tertiary effect. Yeah, that would be a tertiary effect.
The effect of the Russian-Ukraine war will be a secondary effect.
Secondary one, yeah, very. Yeah, because whatever it is.
Very remote.
Very, very remote. On every country, very remote.
When the finance minister and assigns of government keep giving that as an excuse why we find ourselves in this difficulty, where we had to do a domestic debt exchange and subsequently struggle to do an external creditors restructuring of our debt, what goes through your mind when you're teaching these students and then also trying to give all these thought leadership and in your publications?
Actually, it's about lean government. If the government is prudent, I don't think these things will rise up. Yeah, if the cabinet is prudent, a lot of money, taxes bring a lot of money into the revenues, but because we are not prudent about our system, that is what pops up. But if you go in the long run, you realize that no, we should have been able to manage our own affairs as we were told by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Yeah, we should have been able. But unfortunately, government upon government will not allow the citizens to enjoy that freedom.
What should we have been doing? You are saying that we should have pressed your own phrase, the restart button. So what could we have done? Of course, we're told that we're very much on the surplus when it comes to the financial records we have by way of balance brought forward, etc. during the COVID year. What should we have done?
So if you have excess balance, then why do you need to go out? You have the excess balance. And there were a lot of, as my brother Malik told us, if there were excess of money there, when we press the button, we should have been able to use all these to finance ourselves instead of, in the long run, running, as he said, with borrow to the IMF. So if we had been prudent enough, I don't think we would have had such problems.
Nani Hausapon, how extensively should we have been cutting our quote according to our size? Because Dr. Nyantechi here says that, I mean, if you want to keep within the realm of your expenditure and a certain pattern, you reduce that expenditure so that then you can make gains.
Because that is the truth. That is absolutely the truth. I mean, if you would indeed want to deal with the expenditure books, you cut it down. Now, you cut it down based on the revenue inflow. So you look at your revenue inflow, then you actually would have to have your expenditure in that same vein. Doc rightly said, he said that to press the restart button. Now, we were all interdependent. And when COVID came, we became very independent because no country was exporting, no country was importing. We had the opportunity to refocus Ghana back to industrialization, as Alan John Kojo has always been drumming home. Alan, for the past decades or two, has always been drumming home the fact that Ghana ought to channel all its strength to industrialization. Roland, we had an opportunity to pursue an aggressive agricultural revolution. All right? Food is one key thing that has a direct effect on the economy. The economists would always want to play around the fact that, food, blah, blah, blah. But, Masa, food, it's very important. Now, if we had been able to aggressively pursue the agricultural revolution, it meant that we would have had so much of our raw materials feeding into our industries and thereby having in excess that which we use here. Then it means we would be dealing with what we call the import substitution. Because once you are importing, it means you are taking a lot of the hard currency out.
Certainly.
And COVID gave us an opportunity to do that. And Doc rightly said, listen, we ought to deal with the size of government. Public sector reform. Alan Chairman's Great Transformational Plan has proposed, and he has actually indicated that the size of his government will be nothing more than 40 ministers. And Roland, it is not as though he has said it and he's now going to look out for how to restructure the government. I think you have a copy of the Great Transformational Plan.
Yes, I have both the hard and soft copy.
Good. Now, if you look at the page 40 of it, the public sector reforms, he has categorically stated what he needs
to do.
But
Alan Chairman was part of the government, though.
Of course. He has never denied it.
So why is it that these things he didn't advise Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
It is different.
As part of the government economic management team for some of these things to be done.
As a member of the economic management team, you have a responsibility. Your responsibility is to make proposals, defend these proposals. In fact, the economic management team, and to an extent, invites persons who are not even sector ministers to make presentations. Now, it is up to the chairman of the economic management team to indeed accept proposals you have made and to submit it on behalf of the economic management team to government.
So what
now
happened?
Listen, there is a difference between being a minister and being a president. Having ministerial powers and authority is different from having the executive powers, which is solely in the hands of the president. Now, the president, at a point, all right, would share his powers of executive with the vice president. And that is why the vice president is the one that takes over when the president is not around. There are two different things. Of course, if you go to the Ministry of Trade today, Alan did propose when he was minister 10 key strategic anchors that he wanted the country to pursue. He is a trade minister. He does not control the finances of the country. If he makes proposals as to where and how the country should go in terms of industrial transformation, and the president, through the finance minister, and the vice president,
because
for that matter,
the vice president heads the economic management team,
decides that,
of which he as trade minister is part of.
Your industrial transformational agenda is not the priority of we those who are the executive and in the hands of affairs controlling the finances of the country. What do you have to do? Yours is to make the proposals. Go to the Minister of Trade and Industry.
Are you saying this on authority? Based on word given to you by Alan Kojo Chairman, that he made these proposals at the committee to the vice president and then was not implemented?
Based on where you, Roland, can walk to Minister of Trade and Industry and get documentations to that effect. And I dare you to go to Ministry of Trade and Industry.
Interesting.
Ask them for the transformational agenda, the 10 pointers that Alan left behind. It was out of that pointers, okay, that he went out there to look for donors to help draft the automobile development policy. You understand? Let's be real. Being a minister, and sometimes that is why I love when they want to compare the Alaji to Alan. Alaji had powers. Now he told us that, of course, they were trying
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia had the powers.
Alaji Bawumia had the powers. Now he at a point was making Ghanaians feel that he did not have the authority and did not have a say in terms of the management of our economy. Of course, in Kumasi, when they were introducing NAPO, what did the president say? The president openly, bluntly stated that Bawumia was in charge of the economy. And he will be much more comfortable if Bawumia did continue, Alaji Bawumia did continue with the work he is doing. And I'll give you a very simple example for you to know that he was in the helm of affairs. When it was time for us to introduce e-levy, who did? Who did? Let's be real and frank with Ghanaians. I am saying that Alan John Kojo Chairman, through the Great Transformational Plan, has put in place practical measures. And Roland, you see, let's, as a country, let's understand that having a plan, having laid down a plan, and having tabled specifically specifically mentioned all that you have to do. It's different from mounting the platform and reading from a piece of paper and making noise and saying, telling Ghanaians promises. Now I'll give you an example.
Please,
you see that we are not able to hold certain persons accountable. We only go back to their videos and we play because there are no documentations to that effect. And they will tell you they made those statements on political platforms and cannot be held responsible. Yet it's also a comedy.
What's it?
Yet it's also a comedy.
The president said that, yes.
You understand? Now, was there any interrogation to even find out indeed how much money was there, how much revenue was being made, and what those revenues could be used for? Well, I am saying, and I'm speaking on authority, that as we speak, what Ghana needs today to be able to repackage itself and to bring back the investor confidence to boost our economy is a change of leadership. And if you are looking for that, then the duo, which is the NDC and the NPP, haven't had the opportunity for over 32 years, all right, going back and forth, do not have that image to be able to attract that investor confidence to boost our economy. And it's simple. Everybody agrees and everybody understands. And you yourself, you agree and understand that if today, TV3, my full name is Media General, all right, having the butterfly behind you, all right, with the yellow colors. If the butterfly is there, having the butterfly behind
before the movement for change was birthed.
Having the butterfly behind you with the yellow colors.
It was there before the movement of
having the butterfly behind you and the yellow colors. It's simple. That there is a need for us to change the
Michael,
face
get that
we present to Ghana.
full video. Dr. Baumi